Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So I wasn't lying the other day when I said Idubbbz content cop on H3 is the content cop that keeps on giving well content. The video itself is an absolute disaster. You can see the reception of it. It only grows in dislikes every single day. And also, it keeps revealing more controversies as the aftermath sets in. And today we're looking at the latest controversy involving the parties who made this content cop. And it's a very contentious controversy, as you will see. Now, to give you a very quick rundown of the last couple of episodes of Dragon Ball here. So you have Idubbbz, who's a reformed man. He's denounced his old edgy ways. He said his content cop was too mean-spirited to ever do again. And of course, he would forsake that promise and revitalize the series just to make a content cop on his former friend, Ethan Klein. And it was an absolute disaster of a video, quite frankly, boring and filled with a lot of hypocrisy and manipulation. And you can see people just aren't buying it, and it looks really bad. On top of that, he allied with all of Ethan Klein's biggest haters, including a gaggle of the internet's biggest losers, people who are absolutely despised, and that only made things even worse. And also, you know, as the saying goes, when you lie with snakes, don't be surprised when eventually you get bit. Now, Ethan would do a response here to everything going on with the content cop, and as you can see by the reception on this one, it is the polar opposite of the content cop. Very well received despite being a very controversial set of topics he was addressing. And in this response video, he raised two real major points. Number one, that a lot of the clips used by Idubbbz were trying to basically frame Ethan as this unhinged maniac who's, in his words, crashing out over various things. As it turns out, all of those clips were from a stream that he made the same day there was a false CPS report made on his children and his family. And of course, he was understandably a little upset when he was streaming the same day that happened. And Idubbbz, in his manipulative way, he cropped out the title of that stream and made absolutely no reference to anything about the CPS situation whatsoever. On top of that, in this video, Ethan Klein also revealed a fact that was not known until this point. A few days after the CPS call, there were 2 human skulls mailed to him. And of course, that is not a random number. He has 2 children, very clearly sending a message to him, a very grim and disturbing one. Now, in response to all of this, the king of empathy over here, Idubbbz, who discovered empathy at the ripe age of 32, he's had nothing to say about the CPS reports. He's actively hid that fact, and he's had nothing to say about the skulls being mailed. In fact, him and his crew, the only mention of the skulls we've seen is people very suspiciously coming out to claim they're not the ones who sent the skulls. Yeah, that's not weird. But anyways, as you can see, that was pretty much everything that's happened up until this point. And now we have a new controversy thanks to this post that was made about 6 days ago by Idubbbz on Twitter. People are re-examining this and finding some controversy here. So you can see the description of this tweet, Idubbbz, which honestly is the most truthful thing he's made about this entire situation. It's a very truthful statement. It's definitely the DEI content cop episode here. And as it turns out, with anything to do with DEI, it's the worst episode. Would you look at that? But people are roasting this in the comments. You'll be hard-pressed to find anything that is remotely positive. I like this one, showing the de-evolution of the Content Cop series and some of the guest stars. He went from having Post Malone show up in his videos to Frogan. I mean, what a fall-off. But the comments are ripping him apart. And then you see a lot of people pointing this out. So if you zoom in on Idubbbz, you can see he's holding this sword with a swastika on it. Now, we're going to give a very charitable response to Idubbbz with the context behind this specific blade in just a second, but we're looking at the optics here, okay? So let's just back up and take this in. So Idubbbz, who recently shaved his head, is wearing a Palestine scarf and is now holding a blade that is known by the owner and his community as the swastika sword, while making a content cop on a guy who is Jewish. The optics are really bad. Now, this could be a complete set of coincidences here. Just total mistakes. but the optics of what people are pulling from this look really suspicious, okay? Now, of course, let's talk about what's going on here. So number one, this is in fact a swastika, but not the one that people would be thinking of. This is actually a sword where the symbol is on the hilts of it, and it comes from Ichigo, the character from Bleach. That is what the sword is inspired by. And of course, this symbol is likely the Buddhist swastika known as manji in Japan. We've seen that a lot in anime and also among East Asia social media users. It means basically well-intentions, well-beings. It's supposed to be good luck, something positive, as opposed to the Hakenkreuz, which is, of course, associated with a certain party from Germany that YouTube doesn't like you to say out loud. But yeah, there's a very clear difference. This came hundreds of years before that. There is nothing inherently wrong with this symbol and nothing inherently wrong with the sword that we're talking about. In fact, like I said, a lot of people confuse these two very ignorantly, and we've seen this happen with anime. In fact, with Tokyo Revengers in 2021, where Crunchyroll removed any of these symbols from the anime because a bunch of ignorant people on Western social media would not do any research into this matter and just didn't care, and they wanted this stuff removed from the anime without understanding what it actually meant. And I've seen this with social media users as well. People have the manji symbol in their name or in their bio, and people think they're fascists. It's absolutely insane how ignorant some people can be on this subject. Now let's return to the photo itself. Why are people getting so worked up about this particular photo? Now, of course, it's going to be very open to interpretation or whatever you personally feel about this, but this particular sword has a history. You would think with the amount of documentation on this sword, it was something that had historical value or something like that. But this is a sword that belongs to Hasan Piker, who of course was a part of the team who helped make this content cop. And this sword has a name in his community. He has referred to it as his swastika sword. And his friends have referred to it as the swastika sword, and they call it suspicious. So it seems like based on their interpretation, they don't think this is a manji symbol. They think it is a swastika from the past with Germany. Okay, so let's get into this. Hasan Piker's been studying the blade for many years, as you can see. He has a very large sword collection. So number one, it's, again, the optics of all the swords they could have picked for their little photo op. They choose what's known as the swastika sword when covering Ethan Klein. Very interesting, but also people are doing research, including Ethan Klein, who released this video the other day talking about this situation where there's old clips from the last year where on two different occasions, Hasan Piker said he doesn't watch Bleach. He doesn't watch the anime despite purchasing the sword at Anime Expo.
S tier. Wait, I don't even know who that guy is.
That's Isaac, Bleach.
Oh, I don't watch Bleach.
Doesn't watch Bleach. Now, this video's from 8 months ago, right? So, I mean, listen, it's been almost a year. So we continue to look to see, hey, is he a fan of Bleach? This one's from 4 months ago, which is pretty dang recent.
I was like, oh, it's play
Pause
on the...
Does it get worse? Does it get worse? Oh, God. Is this even more recent?
It's much more recent.
This is... No, this is from 4 months ago. No, what does he say?
Do you watch Bleach? I do not. I do not.
So he's not even a Bleach fan at this point, or at least when he purchased the sword. Maybe he binge watched a lot of the anime in the last couple of months, but as of 4 months ago, he said he's never watched the anime, but owns this sword that he refers to as the swastika sword. And there is plenty of documentation to show that. And let's see a little snapshot of some clips where he's talking about this particular sword.
He is buying the sword at an Anime Expo.
I want the normal, this one. The normal one without the... This one's sicker. Wait, that's a little sus.
So he points to the swastika hilt and says that's a little sus. At this point, I feel like you can pretty much conclude that he was talking about the shape of the swastika. Although I think that Hasan fans and Hasan himself would still deny it, saying it's a Buddhist symbol. I was talking about something else, whatever, yada, yada. Well, guys, here's another one from July 2023.
Immediately goes for the swastika one. Got it.
I like this already much better.
You're the one who owns
Do you remember when we did that designer clothes stream?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Hasan, can you say that one more time for me?
That's a back. That's like a bag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Immediately goes for the swastika one. Got it.
I like this already much better.
You're the one who owns
Do you remember when we did that designer
That's a great point. He is the one that owns it. So, I mean, guys, what are we doing here? So we've confirmed that even as far back as 2023, he knew it was the swastika sword. I tried to get him out of this, every step of the way. But here is, and I mean, is it a coincidence that Ian really shaved his head just before doing this video and he's holding a swastika one? I mean, free Palestine? Really, bro?
Dope attire on.
Yeah. Did you buy this here?
Yeah, I was buying another one that was black because I thought it matched my outfit, and it had a swastika, and I was like, oh.
Ludwig saw the sword and he's like, oh, it has a swastika. So clearly it's the first thing everybody notices about this sword. It's not subtle at all.
So now that you have the full context of what this sword means to Hasan Piker and his community, and predictably the people who participated in this video, again, the optics look really, really bad, okay? To him, this didn't seem like some fun anime sword. He had this sort of perception of what he thought it was, and then it finds its way into this picture after a content cop on a Jewish man. Again, it's the optics. They just look bad. Now, there's really only 3 conclusions you can draw from the situation, and this is what I'm seeing people say on social media. And again, feel free to come up with your own conclusion. This is a very open-ended thing. Some people might find a big problem with this. Some people might not find any problem with this. That's fine. But really, there's only 3 conclusions. This was a mistake, a bunch of coincidences, no ill intent behind any of it, just an unfortunate photo op here. That's option 1. Option 2, this was a not so subtle, edgy joke made by Idubbbz in response to Ethan Klein. Now, that would be a bit hypocritical, wouldn't you think? Because, well, Idubbbz might have made this joke back in 2015 or something, but he's a reformed man. He has empathy now. So he wouldn't be able to make an edgy joke like this, which would be a very edgy joke. So it would seem to go against all of his recently found principles. And that leads us into the third conclusion you can draw here, that people are unironically saying that this was a 5D chess move that basically was setting up Ethan Klein to look stupid. I don't really know why they would do that, because let's not give them so much credit, right? Like, they made this stinker of a content cop, but we're going to sit here and believe that this photo op was some 5D chess move that they planned just to make a fool out of Ethan Klein, who, by the way, if you watch his video right here, he was extremely courteous to the situation. He gave them all of the benefit of the doubt he could possibly do until he saw the full context that we saw, especially with the comments made by Hasan Piker about it. And yeah, it would just seem to be a very weird move on their behalf, because most people are seemingly taking Ethan's side and they're not giving any benefit of the doubt to Idubbbz and his crew here. Because also, at the end of the day, remember, every person involved with this content cop, if the roles were reversed, they wouldn't give Ethan any benefit of the doubt. They would be assured that this was an intentional act to disrespect the other party, and they would be talking about it nonstop. I think that is definitely a fair thing to say. So that's really just like the context. We're dealing with a very convoluted situation where I don't think there's any real conclusion to draw. There's just these possibilities, but all of them are a little bit suspicious in their own way. And again, they all have one thing in common, and that's a series of bad optics for the people involved with this. But yeah, that's the latest situation. I don't think we really heard any comments from especially Idubbbz about this yet. I doubt he's going to address this in any sort of a way. But yeah, that is the situation. Feel free to draw your conclusion on what's going on here. For once, I'm not really making a definitive opinion here because we don't really know. But anyways, that's going to do this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.